You've seen this 1,000 times, right? A burr on fur, a hook and loop Velcro. It seems so simple. But what if I told you that this exact kind of thinking is what's missing from almost every business out there? What if it's the key to escaping this, well, this innovation trap that we all seem to be stuck in? Let's get into it.
I mean, just think about it for a second. Why do so many new products, so many new services just look the same? You know what I'm talking about. A tiny new feature here, a slightly different color there. It's all just copy-paste strategy. And honestly, it's getting really old. We're just running in circles.
And that brings us to the real question, doesn't it? When did the word innovation become completely meaningless? It's everywhere. It's in every single meeting, on every PowerPoint slide. But where are the actual breakthroughs? We are absolutely drowning in a fake innovation epidemic. It's just jargon, selling the same old ideas in a shiny new package.
Okay, but here's the twist. The problem isn't a lack of ideas. We've all got ideas. The real problem is how we're thinking. We're literally trying to solve our problems from inside the exact same box that we're trying so desperately to escape. Which leads to this. It's not what you know, it's how you think. This is everything. This is the whole game right here. Okay, so if that's true, what does thinking differently actually look like? You know, in the real world, how do you actually do it?
The solution, believe it or not, is to think across domains. It's about becoming, well, an intellectual trespasser. It's about taking powerful ideas from one world and just unleashing them in a completely different one.
They call this domain bridging, and it's actually pretty simple when you break it down. You find a concept that works brilliantly in one field, and you apply it to solve a problem in a totally different one. It's really about finding answers where absolutely no one else is even bothering to look.
Okay, let's take the Velcro story. This is domain bridging at its purest. You've got a Swiss engineer, he's walking his dog. Annoying plant burrs get stuck in its fur. But here's the thing, he doesn't just see a nuisance. He looks closer and sees a microscopic hook and loop system. Bam! He connects biology to manufacturing, and a multi-million-dollar fastener is born.
Now that's a great example, but let's go deeper. Let's talk about the ultimate outsider. A guy who invaded a territory he had absolutely no business being in, and in doing so, changed everything. We're talking about Johannes Kepler. You really have to put yourself in his shoes. We're in the 1600s. There's no concept of gravity, no notion of momentum. People thought planets were moved by like angels or something. Physics and astronomy were totally separate fields. The only tool Kepler had to connect them was analogies. That's it.
And you know what? He knew exactly what he was doing. He literally wrote, "Ye physicists, prick your ears, for now we are going to invade your territory." Think about that. An astronomer invading physics. He had no business being there, and that is precisely why he saw what all the experts were missing.
And the result of that invasion? I mean, come on. He didn't just adjust some old theory. He invented the entire field of astrophysics. He figured out that the moon influences the tides. He discovered the laws of planetary motion, an outsider who completely reimagined the universe.
So, how do we bring this back down to Earth? How do you actually use this? Well, the real power comes from knowing where to use it. You have to understand your battlefield, and that means seeing the difference between two very different types of problems.
Okay, so on one hand, you have a kind world. Think of a game of chess. The rules are crystal clear. Patterns repeat. The feedback you get is immediate and accurate. But then, there's the wicked world. And guess what? That's your market. That's your industry. Here, the rules are fuzzy or they're constantly changing. What worked yesterday is no guarantee for tomorrow. This is where specialists and even powerful AIs start to hit a wall. And it's exactly where this kind of analogical thinking just dominates.
So I want you to really think about this for a moment. What are the genuinely wicked problems in your industry right now? You know, the really messy, chaotic challenges where everybody else seems completely stuck. Because here's the secret. Those aren't just problems. They're massive opportunities for this way of thinking to just change the whole game.
Look, let's be honest. This kind of thinking can be messy. If you read Kepler's journals, they are filled with wrong turns and dead ends. So to make this actually productive, you need a catalyst. You need a structured way to get from all that confusion to real clarity.
And that catalyst is what's called a sprint scrum session. Forget about those long, drawn-out projects. This is focused, it's fast, and yeah, it's a little uncomfortable. It's designed to be a productive collision of different minds, all built on one core idea. You have to be willing to get confused before you can find real clarity.
So that leaves us with the big question, right? We all know the story of M-Pesa. It was an innovation that completely transformed an entire country. So, what is the M-Pesa equivalent that's just waiting to be discovered in your industry? What huge fundamental problem is just sitting there, waiting for someone to look for an answer in a completely new place?
So, look, if you're tired of innovation just being some buzzword people throw around in meetings and you're ready to actually experience it as a real hands-on practice, well, you need a catalyst. The team at A Catalyst runs these exact kinds of sprint sessions. They are literally built for this. Go start the conversation. And more importantly, start thinking.